Look at this. Mark Swenson sending us these photos from Bellingham, letting us know that Rotor Avenue is closed. And he said people really need to read those signs. Look at those cars. Be sure to send us any photos of videos of where you are and what you're seeing. You can send those to 206-448-4545. You can also tag us on social media, and we will see those.
Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett joins us now, talking about this wind that you've been keeping an eye on now for the last 24 hours.
Yeah, and you know what? We're right in the thick of it right now. As we saw earlier, and I'll show you again in a moment, that low pressure is basically right on top of us. And this is really low pressure. So, we measure it in millibars. It doesn't mean much to most people, but as Drew Mickelson was telling us earlier, this one is in record territory in terms of how low that is. So what that means is that it brings a lot of wind and rain along with it. We will be in first alert until at least about 1 a.m. tonight, until we are clear of this system, or at least it is clear of us. It's going to continue to move off towards the east through the rest of the night tonight. Bear with me one moment, because it looks like my little remote control is a bit on the sleepy side. We'll see if we can get it to wake up here and get it moving forward. Can we? There we go. Periods of gusty winds and more low-level flooding as we go through the rest of the night tonight. Mudslide potential still very real. Think about this for a second. We've got that saturated ground. We've had a lot of rain on top of it. Trees have been blowing in one direction. Once the low passes, now they start blowing in another direction, and that's when you see most of the damage taking place as those limbs come down, power outages, and the more potential for flooding and even some pooling. I'll mention that because drivers have been encountering a lot of very deep puddles on the roads out there, and that'll make you hydroplane or just simply pull you off the road. Be very careful there. So take a look at this. You can see in this radar image, again, you've got some curvature there. So the low is pretty much right over top of, I would say, the Olympics right now. That would be the center of it. And that's really where we're seeing those low tides coming from. But also, as it continues to move through, we're seeing that wind whipping around down towards the south and the southwest, even seeing a little bit of instability off the coast in Oregon that's firing off some lightning there. So as we take a quick look around, we've got a little bit of a rain shadow taking place over the Seattle metro, stretching up towards Everett and Snohomish County there. Some heavier showers along the coast. Up near the border, it's just been steady rain throughout most of the afternoon, but not too heavy. And then up in the mountains, we started with snow levels around 5,500 feet. They are dropping overnight tonight. In fact, we'll have some accumulating snow there tomorrow morning. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But the big story remains those high winds. Everything you see in the ugly yellow mustard color, including down towards the Oregon state line there, we're going to see those winds that will be sustained in that 30 to 40 mile an hour range, with those gusts up to about 60. The other addition now, this green color, that is that coastal flooding warning. It's been enhanced. This time last night, it was just basically from about Seattle northward. Now it's the entire Puget Sound. So the next high tide is at 8 p.m. tonight. We'll be keeping a very close eye on that. But I think the worst of it was this morning. Take a look at winds across the region. Wherever you see purples, that's what we're talking about, winds in excess of 50 miles an hour. We've been seeing them all the way across the state, even out towards the east there. 55-mile-an-hour gust in Hoquiam within the last hour, and some 20s and 30s up towards the north. Now, as we were discussing earlier, as the low moves over, you see right there, that is that center of circulation. You're seeing some purples along the coast, indicating that's where the strongest winds will be. Fast forward to about 8:30, 9 o'clock tonight. The low is now moving off towards the east, and that creates what's called zonal flow. So ignore the numbers here for a moment. You see some of those purples in there. That's when I'm expecting things to really light up towards Whidbey Island, the San Juans, and the Orcas, possibly into portions of coastal Skagit and Whatcom as well. You could be seeing some more flooding there as you've got those winds pushing in from the west. The good news is they'll calm down overnight tonight. The great news is this system will push on. So it looks like we've got one more band of steady heavy rain that'll push into the foothills, basically in King and portions of Snohomish County, possibly up towards Skagit and Whatcom as well. By 11 o'clock, it's starting to dry out, and it's also starting to calm. In fact, we're going to be rewarded with a very good-looking day tomorrow. We'll catch some sun breaks before we re-rack and do the whole thing all over again on Thursday. So as far as accumulated precipitation goes, not much more to do, but again, that ground is already saturated. Also, we're going to see those snow levels drop and start to see some accumulating snow up into the mountains there. By the time we get to about 9 o'clock tomorrow, we could be looking about 8 or 9 inches up towards Stevens and Snoqualmie. Be careful there. 7-day forecast shows some sun breaks headed our way on Wednesday, another system on Thursday and Friday, but as we go towards the weekend, looks like some high pressure build and conditions should be pretty good for New Year's Eve.